Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to a brand new video on HMSUV News, where today we are talking about the brand new MotoGP 20 game released by Milestone on PlayStation, Xbox, PC and Nintendo Switch. It's coming out on the 23rd of April. We were looking to get it a day early, and we're going to give you a quick day one review of the MotoGP game. I've not really played it too much, so I've not really got an overly amount of things to kind of talk about. I'll probably understand more and find new things to talk about as the kind of couple of days go on. But for now, I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the new MotoGP game, which are very, very good. So, first things first, what's new for MotoGP 20? Well, we've got a brand new physics and braking system where if you brake too hard, the back end will lift up and it will kind of bounce about everywhere going into a corner. So if you're really on the limit, you will know about it when going into a corner. It will look like a Marc Marquez qualifying lap at his favourite circuit when he's feeling as confident as he possibly can on a motorbike. Whereas you're on the game, really not confident at all, and very, well, just struggling, basically. Just struggling probably to find a lap and put a lap together. So that's going to be an exciting feature with the new braking system, where if you do brake hard, you will really have to react quick to kind of get yourself back on track and back to the racing line and wherever you want to go. If you're trying to make an overtake, especially online, when you're racing people more kind of at your level, if you brake late and hard to try and get past them, you know, you might have to rethink your situation. If the back end does start to lift up and start to slide about in the air and start to wiggle about, then you could potentially be in trouble. So throughout the gameplay, have a look at the kind of back end moving around and stuff like that, and you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. But that's a really cool new feature. In terms of the physics, it's kind of similar to MotoGP 19, but it's been retweaked. It kind of plays the same apart from that braking thing, which kind of has a long going effect. If you do that into a corner and you mess it up, you really do pay for it, and it's quite slippery out off the racing line, as I find out a couple of times over the course of the 3 races that I've played. It does get quite slippery and quite slidey, so you do have to be a little bit careful when it comes to that. The bike itself feels much more heavier, it feels much more planted on the ground. It doesn't quite feel as understeery and as floaty as it did in MotoGP 19, so that's an improvement. And overall, the physics and the way the bike handles is much better. You can downshift a bit quicker than you could on MotoGP 19, which makes that a little bit more challenging to get your gearing right. If you downshift too quick, the back end will really kick about, and then you'll be in even more bother as kind of what you were when it kind of just lifted up. If you were to just brake a little bit harder. So if you do downshift too quick, you will really put a lot of stress on the engine braking and stuff like that. In terms of the electronics, it's exactly the same as last year. However, with the brand new fuel depletion and the fuel management system that they've got in the game, where you can burn fuel and you have to manage your fuel over a course of a race or a qualifying or a practice or whatever, you've got 3 power modes, and they are on the bottom right of the hood in the lower right hand corner. Power mode 0, which is lean mix, power mode 1, which is standard mix, and power mode 2, which is rich mix. And then if you press Y or triangle on the controllers, you will then flip the hood, a little bit like F1, where you can flick through the tyre temperatures, the damage, your pit information, etc, etc. If you press that, then you get a full in-depth look at the tyres with exact tyre temperature markings on them as well. So there's 2 hoods on the bottom right hand corner. There's one which is a standard full tyre and fuel overview, and then your second hood, which is a in-depth tyre view, where you can look at each side of the tyre and the temperature and the wear. Just much more easier. It's just larger, so it's easier to see. And that's because they have obviously brought in this new tyre temperature and tyre management feature in MotoGP 19. And now that's kind of gone one step further in MotoGP 20 with asymmetric tyres and all the tyres cut into 3. So you have the left side, the right side and the centre, and all of them different kind of size of a tyre will behave differently depending on what circuit you're at. If you're at a right-hander circuit, or as a long left-hander that punishes the tyre, like Argentina for example, after the hairpin at the end of the back straight, that long left-hander, or Qatar, the long left-hander before the fast rights, that will burn up your rear left hand side of the tyre, whereas the right side of the tyre will start to cool down in temperature. So you've got to kind of manage that as well as managing the fuel and trying to stay on a 200 brake horsepower MotoGP bike. So it's not exactly the easiest thing to do on the MotoGP game, which is why it makes it much more enjoying and much more challenging. But not only have they got the brand new physics and tyre temperature system, they've also got brand new AI. So in MotoGP 19 we were introduced to Anna, the neural AI that kind of learned to adapt to different situations. They learned their way around the circuit, they've learned to adapt to other riders and stuff like that. Well, now they have gone one better. Anna 2 is a brand new neural AI system which basically allows the AI to manage fuel, manage tyres, and also adapt to the actual movements of the bike. If the bike wheelies, you will see the AI crouch over the front, add a bit of rear brake, and just try and get the front wheel down as quick as possible to limit the time lost. You will see AI now make mistakes, running wide and crashing and retiring from the race. So that's new for MotoGP 20. AI can indeed retire, and I have had AI retire in the races that I've got for you in the background. They've also added a bit more kind of gestures, if you like, kind of reactions, kind of feelings with the AI and the riders, where if you crash into a rider, your guy will start waving his hands about and getting all angry that a rider's either like cut you up or apologises to a rider if you just slam into the side of them. So it's kind of added a bit more of an immersive dynamic feel to kind of actually feel like there is something underneath your leather suit and there is actually a rider on it and not just some character plonked onto it sort of thing. It just kind of adds a bit more realism and a bit more of a feel, so that's kind of cool. And also your general upgrades to the AI make them much quicker and stuff like that. So we've still got a lot to learn with the AI, I think, and how they attack racers. From what I've seen of the gameplays, they look like some AI do bolt off from the start, whereas some hold back. A race that my brother was doing earlier in a career mode, he was just kind of chilling in second position. Fanati had gone out front by about a second. He had about a second and a half to the guys behind, and then all of a sudden in 2 laps the guys behind had caught him, passed him, and opened up a 1.5 second gap, and he was fighting for 7th in the end. So the AI do look like they do build up to races, build up to the race, and also kind of go off at the same time. So a couple of different game plans from the AI, a couple of different strategies. And MotoGP 20 also has a brand new damage model where basically you can knock off your wings. If you make heavy contact with riders or have a big crash, you will damage your bike, you will snap the wings off. In fact, the gameplay at Silverstone, I made a move on Iannone. You can probably see it in the background if I've managed to edit this properly. You can see it in the on the screen now of the damage that my bike kind of had done to it after making contact with Iannone on the last lap, which kind of adds much more of a dynamic kind of feel to it. If you damage your bike, you will know about it. Your bike will pull to whatever side it's damaged. It will all be turbulent. Under braking, it will be unstable because all of the kind of aerodynamics is all up and down and all over the place. So it is really, really cool. A little feature that they've added in makes it a little bit more realistic, that your bike doesn't come back out the gravel trap in one piece. And that also leads me on to the respawn system. They changed the respawn system where if you crash, you have to wait until your bike finishes sliding and then you respawn where the bike lands. So you could land in the gravel right up against the barrier and you respawn in the gravel right up against the barrier, and you have to ride through the gravel and back onto the track, so you lose more time and it's more costly if you crash out of a race. The same applies for the AI as well. That's cool to see because we've got a brand new game mode to use all these new features in, and that is the manager career mode. However, from what I understand, from what I've seen when I've loaded up career mode, I've not yet started the career mode. However, I have watched, and there is some gameplay in the background of the screen capture of me loading up the career mode just a little while ago. We have seemed to have lost the rider career mode and developed a manager rider career mode. So it looks like we've got a couple of brand new teams. The DHL one is the one that we're going to use for the purpose of the video. However, we also have the real life team, so it looks like we can either go down the path of a brand new team and ride for that and kind of run that, or go for a realistic team. However, all teams have contracts with salaries on them, contract lengths, and targets and proposals that we have to meet. So it's much more real, much more kind of feel like, right, okay, I've got a job to do here, I'm getting paid for it. You develop in-game credits which can go on building facilities, I assume, and upgrading your bike over the course of the season to get yourself much higher up the order and stuff like that. So that's cool to see that they've added that money system to make it feel like a bit more realistic and a bit more kind of like there's a purpose to career mode and not just riding around doing races. So that's really cool to see. But it is interesting to see how they've kind of mashed these two career modes together to create one big career mode. And it's cool that you can either go down the form and down the route of a real life team or this brand new custom team. However, I'm not sure if that's the case. They might be adding another patch on day one which adds the manager career mode. We'll have to wait and see, but I think they have managed to kind of make this one massive dynamic immersive career mode. Not as immersive obviously as Formula 1, but it is still looking much better than what it did last year. In terms of MotoGP career mode, you can either go into MotoGP, Moto2 or Moto3. Red Bull rookies will be added to the game at a later date, but we'll get onto that in a little while. But they have obviously left this open where you can start wherever you want. MotoGP does have winter testing. They have the test bikes in the game, and it did mention winter testing when you loaded up career mode as well. So that's still in the game, so that's all cool. But yeah, looking forward to get started on career mode, which will be on my channel RWL and Jamie's channel He Ho Meatman. Links to them are down in the description. And the last thing to talk about are the new updates coming to the game in May and June. So we have an update coming early May and late May, and also some in June. Now these will update the AI to the real life kind of pecking order in Moto3 and Moto2, and obviously MotoGP unfortunately hasn't yet kicked off in real life, so they are kind of winging it with a pecking order of what kind of based off last year, which is kind of what you would have expected this year, although there's a couple of teams that look a little bit better. KTM look better than last year, Aprilia look much better than last year, so things will kind of change over the next couple of weeks and months as Milestone get an understanding of where they probably would have been. They will update liveries, models, rider performances, helmets, stuff like that over the next couple of weeks for MotoGP, Moto2 and Moto3. They will also add Moto E when that kind of gets closer to hopefully starting sometime soon. Obviously that won't start to whenever MotoGP can go back racing, but when they get a bigger understanding, a better understanding of whatever Milestone need to make the Moto E games, then they'll get onto that, and then the Red Bull Rookies Cup will come at a later date as well. So they will be bringing fresh content to the game within a month and a bit, between a month and 2 months after release, which is cool to see that they are focusing on keeping this game as fresh as they can do over the next couple of weeks and months. But yeah, apart from that and everything that's kind of been reeled off on the list, the general feeling of the game, there's not really much to talk about at the moment. It's very, very, very good. I will understand much more as I get more in depth and into the game, but from where I'm sat now, in the position I'm at now, I give it a solid 7, maybe an 8, maybe an 8 out of 10, and that will get better and better as we go along. In terms of online, I've not quite looked at online. I shall load it up right now as we speak. Multiplayer, I'm hoping they have another race director. They do indeed have a create a race director match. So we have a public match, a private match, and a race director match where you can obviously make your own lobbies, and that is good because that leads me on to my next point, which is a brand new MotoGP league. Now we attempted this last year and unfortunately we didn't get the numbers that we wanted and needed to form a league. However, this year we have joined partnership with my channel and also my friend's kind of growing business that is looking to get into, LJ Motorsport Designs. There will be a link down in the description, possibly if I remember to put them in. If not, doesn't matter because they haven't done anything anyway. They haven't started yet. It was only set up a couple of days ago, but we've all put our heads together to form a MotoGP 20 PlayStation 4 league. If you're interested in joining the league, it's open to all skill groups because the plan is to do more than just one category per video. So that's all I'm going to say. We're going to leave it at that. And we're not going into too much details because nothing's been announced yet, nothing's been confirmed. We're going to have to wait till we get the game, which we now have, and then we can go in and have a look at the opportunities and the tools that we've got and how we can work it and how we can do it. So that's open for discussion at the moment between us as creators and also you guys as well, if you would like to get involved. So if you would like to get involved, just say I'd like to get involved, and we can kind of get a rough understanding of numbers. So let us know down in the comment section below. Check out the community tab on the HMSGP page. Check out my personal YouTube channel, RWO, He Home Meat Man, Jamie's personal YouTube channel, and all our social medias, HMSGP News, LJ Motorsport Designs, and RWO. And also probably Jamie Randall has got some stuff on his Twitter, and Jamie Randall 121 on his Instagram. So yeah, make sure you check them out. And the final point I would like to mention is the MotoGP 20 Day 1 live stream that we do for most of the MotoGP games since setting up the HMSB News channel. We're going to be doing a live stream on Day 1. So the time isn't yet set, but Thursday the 23rd we will be doing a live stream on Day 1. So make sure you check out the community tab after watching this video. If you watched it on Thursday, we may have or may not have decided on a time. Jamie's going to get it all installed overnight. As soon as it goes live at midnight, he'll install it so it'll be ready for when he wakes up. So we could potentially be doing a live stream at about 1-2 o'clock in the afternoon or early evening. So we'll let you know in the community tab and over on social media, so make sure you're checking them out. So you can come and join us for Day 1 of the MotoGP 20 launch. So yeah, that's it for today. The MotoGP game, very, very good game. Hope you guys are looking forward to it, or if you've got it already early like we have, then you're really enjoying it as much as we are, because it is really a big step forward in MotoGP games compared to last year. Very, very much looking forward to diving into career mode on our personal channels as well. So make sure you subscribe to them so you don't miss a video. Make sure you subscribe to us so you don't miss a video in motorsport news, although I know that at the moment there's not much going on with the coronavirus outbreak, but hopefully we'll get back to normal soon and we can get back to making videos. But yeah, that's going to be it for today, shall I say. I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time in a brand new video very soon.